Hey guys. Attention Gillinorians. Somehow between watching Breaking Bad for the fourth time and just juggling life's hurdles, I've come across the closest thing to a time machine since you found your old Game Boy in a storage bin. The closest thing to a time machine I have ever encountered. I was immediately sent back to the year 2004, dodging chores and getting rudely interrupted by my dial-up connection. Before I knew it, I was spamming in Varrock West Bank like my life depended on it. And all I cared about was getting enough GP for a Rune scimitar. Lost City, the RuneScape time capsule private server. And I simply can't express how delighted I am to just be able to jump into a project like this. A game that's 21 years old, a game that most of us started on. And for a 21-year-old, poorly pixelated game, let me be clear. This couldn't be more refreshing. See, we have a big problem nowadays, not just in gaming, but in everyday life, where everything is just battling for our attention. Every single millisecond, there's bright colors, there's loud music, it's crazy. That's one thing that RuneScape always had going for it, until recently. Lost City, however, does not try to hijack your brain every millisecond, and it's quite nice. There's no XP bars exploding with colors. No daily login chests screaming open me. There's no multiple currencies to juggle like most games. And there's not even a single pop-up begging for money. It's just quiet, simple, and peaceful, and that's frankly where it takes the dub. Modern gaming quite literally feels like you're trapped in a casino. Flashing lights, fake rewards, and constant noise. Half the time I'm not even sure if I'm playing a game. To be honest, we're just clicking through dopamine traps set by a marketing team. It's almost like game developers now solely measure a game's success just based off how long they can keep your attention for and how many extra cents they can bring in microtransactions. And not what the game actually is or what actually made the game fun in the first place. But I admit, I'm a fanboy on this. Lost City, it hits different. Because it is a literal time machine. When I sit on this computer, I'm not me anymore. I'm 10-year-old me with no responsibility, no idea about the game, and I'm just living in the moment. It's kind of like going camping after living in the city your whole life. It's almost jarring. It's like it starts off with, wait, what do I do now? And then eventually you get into it, and it's just this weird kind of peace. This simple peace. I know at this point there's plenty of memes and haters on the game itself. You chop logs, you fish, you light the logs on fire, you burn the fish, and repeat, and somehow it feels like progress. I mean, I get how that sounds. You're not being entertained every single second. You're just doing something, playing the game doing something. And quite frankly, that's kind of rare now. And I think that's why I loved this game so much. It's literally the antidote to modern gaming overload. It's kind of like a palate cleaner for your brain. You know, you get to game, but you get to breathe. You can zone out, you can watch a podcast, you can do literally anything you want and play this game at the same time. And to make the best of it, you can play it on browser, no download. It's kind of crazy. It's a fantastic idea. It's a wonderful game. But if I'm being real with you, there's a couple things that I do question. For example, part of me do wonder how long this magic is going to last. Like, is the feeling of nostalgia just doing all the heavy lifting? Like, am I playing Lost City because it's genuinely fun? Or is it because I'm just taking the biggest nostalgia trip of my lifetime? It could be a bit of both. But there's one thing I do know. There is a difference between a good game and a good memory. But right now, it's both. And that's the part that worries me. Because what happens when the memory fades? What happens when I have killed all the hill giants I can handle? That's the risk with nostalgia-based games. They're amazing until they're not. The moment you catch up with the memory, you might find there's not much left to chase. When you play enough to overrule that memory, you've kind of overwritten saved data. I love Lost City. I love 2004scape. But there are a couple things that worry me. But still, even if it doesn't last forever, I'm okay with that. Sometimes you just need a weekend away without the modern day noise. And this game helps deliver that. So maybe in a few weeks I'll move on, but for right now this game is definitely pure therapy. And for me, it's by far the most interesting point of this game. There's a real organic economy just flowing and evolving. I know when it comes to RuneScape, the Grand Exchange can be a heavily controversial topic. For the old school RuneScape players, and especially the real OGs, we all remember that if you wanted something, you actually had to grind for it. There was a real sense of achievement behind every single item gained. I really love that if you want something, you actually have to either grind for it or walk your ass to the Varrock West Bank and yell it out like a medieval eBay ad. I love that. The whole economy of Lost City breathes and evolves through player interactions. There's no invisible hands of the Jagex pricing system just placing numbers and placing items. Everything is organically there. There's no bot scalped marketplace. It's all just real people shouting deals like shady alleyway vendors. I'll give you a good example. When I first started a couple weeks ago, the price of a rune scimitar was 150,000 GP because the price of everything is just based off supply and demand. When the price point was 150,000, the only way to gain this rune scimitar was to have it created. Since then, membership has been released and the price has dropped to around 20,000. It's an actual marketplace. And for all of us old geezers playing this game, I know we can all appreciate that. And a picture that exists again. You'll never fail to find just random conversations because now players are once again forced to actually speak. It's loud, it's messy, and it's absolutely alive. So unlike modern games where everything is automated and you just click and walk away, you actually have to interact and bargain with people. And that's the magic. Every trade is a moment. Sometimes you overpay for convenience. Sometimes you score a deal. But every time, it's yours. You earn that scimitar with social skills and raw persistence, not some auto price feature. There's no centralized market, so prices actually make sense. People learn the old mechanics once again, and everything just grows. I know I sound like a super dork right now, but I just can't help it. If you've ever wanted to feel young again, here's your shot. Friendships are created. It's like a bartering system meets medieval survival. And it's interesting because that unpredictability is what keeps you involved. You want to train magic? You're going to need runes. And you're going to need thousands of them. And you have no grand exchange to get these from. So instead of clicking buy 1,000 fire runes, you're going to have to track down a guy that's been camping Varrock Ruin Shop and haggling people like a shady street magician. Either way, that person matters in your world now. That's something huge for modern gaming. And that's one of the biggest things that private servers like this have going for them. It's exactly where they come out on top so strong. And in this case, they have the nostalgia factor to back them. And that's what helps them thrive. So yeah, that's basically Lost City. The time machine that I somehow stumbled upon. A pixelated museum of RuneScape's most crustiest but charming era. Preserved like a mosquito in ember. Except, instead of extracting dinosaur DNA, you're extracting pure, uncut nostalgia. A potato-faced character mining copper in a skirt. I am not going to lie to you and say this game's perfect. It's obviously not. It's scuffed, it's janky, the UI looks like it was drawn by someone on MS Paint with a sugar rush. Sometimes you just right-click things even though it does nothing just to feel like you still have control of your life. But none of that matters because somehow against all logic, it's still fun, like dangerously fun. In a world where every modern game is literally just a dopamine fire hose, just aiming straight at your face, where every mission is a cinematic experience with 14 side quests and a battle pass, Lost City is the return to the caveman brain. Chop tree, kill rat, feel joy. It's simple, it's raw, it's the game where you make your own fun and screw up constantly, and somehow it still feels like you're progressing, because you are. Even if all you did was pick flax for an hour and get yelled at by a dude named Big Tuna 69. It happens. It's also the kind of place where people still talk, and not just in abbreviations. Sure, one day the nostalgia will probably wear off. You look around and realize you've been woodcutting in Draenor for 4 hours and still can't afford an Addy plate. But in the moment, it's worth to stop and appreciate it. Because what you're doing is reliving something that once existed in a very real way. Something that was yours. Ours. Something from a time where games weren't just about constant updates and microtransactions. it was about spending 30 minutes trying to kill cows with a bronze dagger, where some dude asks you if you want to train with him sometime and probably never hear tell of him again. So yeah, if you're looking for a perfectly balanced AAA gaming experience, you're in the wrong place. But if you want a digital time machine that brings back your soul to 2004 and simpler times, I recommend you give it a shot. Complete with typos, lag spikes, and a thriving community, Lost City is your game. And that's pretty much all I got. May your RNG be slightly less trash than mine. If you know what RuneScape's all about and at one point even slightly enjoyed it, then there's nothing really to hate here. This is the golden era.